The story begins in distant 17th century Japan, at a time when faith itself could cost a person their life. At dawn in 1633, steam rises above the hot springs. And in this hell of boiling water, Japanese Christians are doused for their faith. Jesuit Ferreira stands aside, watching his parishioners being thrown into torment for one purpose: to make them renounce their faith. But no one cries out. They ask for only one thing: continue to torture us. Years pass. Within the walls of the Jesuit college, two young priests, Rodriguez and Garupe, read Ferreira's last letter. It seems to have come from another world. The merchants who delivered it tell them the terrible news. Their mentor allegedly could not withstand the torture and renounced his faith. Moreover, he remained to live among the pagans as one of them. For his students, this is unthinkable. Ferreira is their spiritual father, a symbol of steadfastness. Contrary to the categorical prohibitions of their superiors, Rodriguez and Garupia make a bold, almost suicidal decision. They set off for Japan to find out for themselves what really happened to Ferreira and what the true situation of Christianity is in this closed country. Upon reaching the Japanese coast, the priests are forced to swim ashore. Strangers bearing a cross are not welcome here. The ground beneath their feet seems to breathe fear. Unable to bear the horror, Kitijiro abandons them. The two Jesuits are left alone in a country where they can be boiled alive for uttering the word God. At night, peasants come to their hiding place. They are ordinary poor people, but their eyes burn with the fire of secret faith. They whisper, "We are Christians." These people have been hiding from the authorities for years, keeping crucifixes carved from bamboo in secret hiding places. They ask the priests to baptize their children, hear their confessions, and consecrate their homes. Thus begins the underground life of the missionaries. One day, Rodriguez steps out into the sun. They are noticed by strangers. In a panic, the missionaries return to the house and hide. Only when the strangers leave does Rodriguez decide to come out. Before him are peasants from a neighboring village. It is from them that the priests learn of Kichijiro's terrible past. His family was once burned alive for refusing to renounce their faith. He alone, trembling with fear, stepped on a tablet with the image of Christ. He passed the Fumie test. Since then he has been cursed by his own conscience. Rodriguez confesses him, and for the first time sees that even the fallen can long for forgiveness. The road leads further by sea to another village. There, amid poverty and fear, the priests find a man who knew Father Ferreira. He assures them that the mentor was seen in the Nagasaki area. Hope is revived. But upon returning to the first village, they are met with alarm. The Inquisitor's men have arrived. His soldiers seize the old man and demand confessions. Who else believes? They promise silver for denunciation and death for silence. The peasants are given 3 days. If no one betrays the guilty, the hostages will be executed. When the soldiers leave, the village falls silent. No one agrees to betray their neighbor. Rodriguez and Garupe understand that in order to save others, they must leave themselves. And when the time came, the village had to decide who to send to their death in order to save the rest. The choice fell on several people. They could only be called volunteers in name. Among them was Kichijiro, a man whom God seemed to have chosen for eternal falls. Rodriguez silently accepts a gift from one of the peasants, a roughly carved wooden crucifix. On the seashore, 4 peasants are put to the test. A sacred image, a fumi-e, is placed at their feet. On the orders of the senior priest, they can formally step on it, not with their hearts, but with their feet, to save their lives. But the officials are not fools. They sense the lie and demand more. Spit on the crucifix. No one agrees. Only Kichijiro, trembling, takes a step. The others are tied to crosses by the sea, where the surf becomes their executioner. The tide slowly rises, covering them with waves. One day passes, then another, then another. 2 die, but one remains alive for 4 more agonizing days. He sings hymns until the waves drown out his voice. After that, Rodriguez and Garupe flee, saving not themselves, but their faith. An interpreter comes to his cell, an educated, ironic man. He explains that the Eastern faith does not need crucifixions and blood, that Western religion is a disease from which the country must be cured. Then he offers a deal. If Rodriguez publicly renounces his faith, many prisoners will be saved. He says that Ferreira has already done so and is living in Nagasaki under a Japanese name. Rodriguez does not believe him, but soon he is indeed taken there. People in the streets throw stones at him as if they see a strange monster. He is a monster, brought by a foreign faith. It is raining in the street, and the prisoners are driven out to dig holes. Through the fence, Rodriguez sees Kichijiro, the one who betrayed him more than once. The fisherman cries, swears that he did not take the silver, that he was forced to do it. Then he asks for confession again. The priest is angry, but he listens anyway. For who is he, if not a shepherd for the lost? On the same day, the 5 Christians are offered freedom in exchange for renouncing their faith. All 5 refuse. One is beheaded, right in front of Rodriguez. The guards silently bring Kichiro and show the contrast. He steps on the icon again and is immediately freed. At dawn, he is led to the sea. There, the prisoners are tied up and loaded onto a boat. Among them is Garupe. He is told that Rodriguez has already betrayed God. As the boat sails away, the soldiers begin to throw the Christians overboard. Garupe jumps into the water, trying to save them, but drowns along with his flock. Rodriguez watches as the sea swallows his last hope. After the unimaginable tragedy on the shore where his friend died, Rodriguez's crisis of faith reaches its peak. He prays to God, but in response he is only an all-consuming, soul-chilling silence. One day, he is taken to a Buddhist temple, where he meets Father Ferreira. The confessor they have been desperately searching for tells his shocking story. Broken by unbearable torture and doubt, he renounced his faith, took a Japanese name, acquired a home and a wife, and now serves in a Buddhist temple and even writes books exposing Christianity. Ferreira convinces Rodriguez that in Buddhism, he has found the great wisdom that is lacking in the contradictory Christian doctrine. But Rodriguez refuses. Then the Inquisitor's most terrible weapon comes into play: psychological torture. 5 new prisoners are hung upside down over pits, with cuts behind their ears so that blood slowly drips out. Rodriguez is brought to them so he can hear their moans. Then Ferreira intervenes. He convinces the young Jesuit that his fanatical steadfastness and religious pride are nothing compared to the lives of innocent people who are dying because of his stubbornness. Rodriguez cannot bear it. Faced with the blood of strangers and unbearable pain, He steps on the fumier, committing the greatest betrayal of his beliefs. The end of the story is told through the eyes of an outside observer, a Dutch merchant. He testifies that in 1641, he saw two apostate Catholic priests in Japan who worked at customs, searching for hidden Christian symbols in goods. From time to time, he has to go through the ritual of renunciation to maintain this illusion. A Dutch merchant who visited Japan in 1682 recounts the last days of the former missionary. Rodriguez never once mentioned the Christian God, either in word or sign. Even on his deathbed, he did not pray. His body was placed in a round barrel for cremation, and no one but his wife was allowed to approach it. The guards placed the barrel on the fire and set it alight. As the flames began to rise, the camera slowly, inexorably moved closer to the barrel. And in his hands, twisted by age, now alien and rejected, lies the only untouched artifact. That very crucifix, roughly carved from wood. That's where the film ended.